Welcome to the final episode of Shakespeare's The Sonnets. Today we're doing the last sonnet ever. Well, not ever. Shakespeare also created the Dark Lady sonnets, which I may do a series on. This is sonnet number 154, which has literal links to sonnet number 153, which I will go back to as a reference. So let me just start off with a little reading of this. The little love god, lying once asleep, laid by his side his heart in flaming brand, whilst many nymphs that vowed chaste life to keep, came tripping by, but in her maiden hand the fairest votary took up that fire which many legions of true hearts had warmed. And so the general of hot desire was sleeping by a virgin hand disarmed. This brand she quenched in a cool well by, which from love's fire took heart perpetual, growing a bath and healthful remedy for men disease. But my mistress raw came there for cure, and this by that I prove. Love's fire, he's water, water cools not love. First thing you have to understand is the love god is Cupid. And if you go ahead and try to analyze each of these one by one, you get this. The little love god lying once asleep, laid by his side, his heart in flaming brand. So while Cupid decided to go ahead and take a little nap, which is a stupid thing for Cupid to do if you ask me, he went ahead and left behind his little wooden stick, which had his fire of love. And this fire of love, it contrasts well with the dark. What does that last sentence have to do with this? Nothing. I just said it to try to confuse you. So pay attention. And so all of this works out pretty well. And then because of the fire that's literally on the stick, we get something like this. And whilst many nymphs that vowed chaste life to keep came tripping by, but in her maiden hand the very votary took up that fire which many legions of true hearts had warned. If you remember from sonnet number 153, you remember that our lady, our little nymph, had the fire in her hand. She decided to try to cool it off by putting in some cold river. It went in, but instead of burning out completely, it boiled the river, which created, well, this. She was able to get the stick back, so, which had no more fire left. But now this river, right over here, literally became a little medicine place, where men and women can go inside to try to go ahead and cure their own ailments. If you also remember reading that sonnet, you remember that the nymph went ahead and came back with the stick, but then one look from the young nymph, which basically was laser eyes, and went ahead and, well, rejuvenated the entire fire of love. So what Shakespeare is trying to say is this. So I go ahead and realize that I myself went ahead and turned into this evolved form. Except on the outside, I'm still me. But the young new stem went ahead and started the Cupid's fire in me also. So I journeyed off to find the spring of medicine. I went inside to try to cool it off, in hopes that the fire will be overwhelmed by the water so that it turns into nothingness. But instead, this is what I learned. Love's fire can instantly boil a bunch of water. But if you try to spray water on it, it cannot be cooled. Water cools not love. Water cannot destroy fire, not the love fire. Love is so strong that its heat will instantly evaporate water. It will instantly boil the water into nothingness. And it's at a distance that the water will just boil instantly and not evaporate. And so that's what Shakespeare learned. This love he cannot quench, no matter how much water he tries to put on it. It's invulnerable. It's waterproof water. It's waterproof fire. One of the most important tactics of pirates. And so this is it. This is sonnet number 154. If you have been with me this entire, during this entire trip for about 6 months, I thank you for watching all this and looking at all these series with me. I'll go ahead and make a reading of this real quick. That will conclude this series. And before I do that, I just want to thank all of you guys who actually watched, and for those who will watch in the future. And until then, John out, peace. The little love god, lying once asleep, laid by his side his heart in flaming brand, whilst many nymphs that vowed chaste life to keep came tripping by, but in her maiden hand the fairest voluntary took up that fire which many regions of true hearts had warmed. And so the general of hot desire was sleeping by a virgin hand disarmed. This brand she quenched in a cool well by, which from love's fire took heat perpetual, growing a bath and healthful remedy for men diseased. But I, my mistress Saral, came there for a cure. And this by that I prove, loves fire, hates water. Water cools not love. Finis.